Now let us move on to today's session, titled Small Steps Towards a Greener You by Svaguna Foods. I have pleasure in inviting Dimple Mehra to the Rise Pico World Summit 2025. Dimple Mehra is a managing director at Svaguna Foods. She's a marketpreneur and agripreneur dedicated to blending innovation with traditional wisdom. She focuses on making marketing a strategic sales tool while promoting sustainable agriculture. A lifelong learner, she is passionate about transforming cultivable land into thriving food forests. In today's workshop, she will take us through small steps we can take towards a greener you. With this note, let me welcome Dimple Mehra to the Rise Pico World Summit. Thank you. Welcome, Dimple Mehra.
Thank you, Akila, and thank you to Rise for giving us this opportunity. Yes, a greener you, right? It sounds quite easy, and it is in a way easy, but it does take a lot of conscious thought and conscious actions on our part. Is it for everyone? Yes, as your video so beautifully articulated, right? I, you, us, and we, and ours. And it is ours to protect, and it is ours to nurture, and it is ours to contribute to. Just to give you a short background as to what we do and why, we in space, we, 9 years back, wanted to just grow trees. That was the endeavor, just grow trees. We didn't know what trees, why, what. The objective was just growing trees, and it's quite heartening that yes, today we are at that stage where the core objective of growing trees has been met, but we're also developing an ecosystem for the flora and fauna around the space where we're doing it. Most of our efforts are concentrated in Madhya Pradesh, where we are doing seed to forest, wherein it's a 15 to 22 year maturity life cycle. So truly speaking, we've really not seen a full thriving forest. We're looking forward to doing it, and those are our efforts that we're working towards. And that got us to a lot of conscious thinking. As we said, we were in the corporate world, and you would see a lot of waste. You would see impact to the planet, and those talks were happening. And there were companies which were taking significant steps, and there were companies which were taking minute steps. And all of these kind of, work towards hitting out in the larger space. A single step of also not using plastic bottles is a very, very small step. But if you consciously stick to it, you do make an impact. You individually, impact studies, etc., too cumbersome for you and me as an individual. But just imagine that, say no to a plastic bottle. It helps. It helps for the food that you're growing. It helps for the food that you're eating. It helps the planet and recycling, because recycling also consumes a lot of energy. So minimizing use is the first thing that we can look at. And the same concept we took in our farming is we said, what can we minimize? And we minimize the use of any kind of even biofertilizers. Forget chemical fertilizers, even biofertilizers, we said, let's not use it. And trees have been growing, right, without any augmentation or intervention from our end for ages and centuries. So could we adopt that step back? Yes. So when you equate your daily urban life to your rural life, and you're saying, okay, can we do this? And then can we take it to a larger frame? And that's when you start doing it consciously. Minimalism. People talk of minimalism, but are we really? We were able to talk with kids in schools, and we said, can we just go and tell our parents that we do not want to buy 5 outfits? Can we just buy 3 outfits in the year? That is minimizing, because you're lessening the impact, and the impact really is there. You go to rural India, you see single-use plastic around, cleansing it, taking it out of the soil, taking it out of the water bodies, taking it out is a huge task. And sometimes it's a forgotten task. People just ignore it. we are so used to just seeing plastic lining up every which where, whether it's in your green lands, your forest lands, etc. And can I tell you, it's really jarring. Imagine going on a forest tour and you see a plastic bottle in a peat forest or any pinch forest. It shouts at you. So it is making a loud noise in your head. We need to just start listening to those voices. Nature teaches us, and nature tells us also. We don't really need nature to fall down on us. We get these subtle this thing. Now, when I said when we minimalize use, we are lessening the burden. We are reviving the earth and the soil on its own. Because the minute you add something to the soil has to then balance itself. And therefore, that's when the replenished cycles, etc., come into place. The soil is rich enough. As long as we're not harming it, it doesn't really need a lot from our end. Yes, it does when we become selfish and we say we need you to yield more, we need you to work a little harder, we need you to give us 10 kgs instead of 5 kgs that you're giving us, etc. But that's not ask that we can give the soil and the earth to do for us. We need to respect what it is giving us, nurture it a little more so that it can reward us with a lot more. But we can't demand it. And when we're adding chemicals, we're demanding out of it. And that's not really right. Now, let's go back to a corporate organization, right? We might say that we'll have glass bottles for water, etc. It helps. But at the same time, just doing that probably will not impact you, because if you're only 5 people in the organization, that impact could be very small. Yes, it is an impact. But maybe if 5 people, you'll do a lot of gifting. So can we move towards sustainable gifting? That is a greener you, right? So we say we will not use plastic, we will not use ribbon, we will not use all of it. And these are today, the solutions are available. It's just for us to move ahead and find the solutions. As when you go to the farm, right, and we say, well, let's not add biofertilizers, then you will find a solution, because you will travel to various parts of the country, revive the indigenous methods of farming and adopt them. And when you do that, and then you have that practice to pass on to the others around you, etc. Typically, we are in a corn and a wheat belt. Most of our lands are in these belts. They're water intensive. They're reducing the value of the soil, and obviously there is no way they're replenishing the soil. Imagine the people who started adopting the way of farming, who started growing trees around us, etc., in their own pieces of land. And that is a step. So it is possible. You just need to be able to show it. You need to articulate it. You don't need to yell it out, but subtle changes. So therefore those, and when I mentioned corporate gifting, right? So when we moved in, when we were doing our packaging, when we were looking at how to take them forward, our supply chain, how do you reduce it? We do movements, once in 15 days from the farm to this thing. So those are very conscious moments. At the same time, when we do deliveries for customers, we're very clearly we're actually not delivering anything which is life-threatening or life-saving, right? It's not a medicine or an intervention. We're just delivering food. Plan it out. Tell us 3 days in advance. We will also plan out the route plan so that our vehicle or the transportation person is just, going through that route on a single day, saving the greens, etc. These are just small things that you need to incorporate. You might lose a customer. I'm not saying some, because we need it now, because in the age of 10 minutes deliveries and 1 hour deliveries, etc. There are, but then you have to know what you're catering to and what your core is. It's very easy to get onto the bandwagon of commerce, and there's nothing wrong in it, because we are ultimately a commerce company. But you can't be driven by that. You have to have certain principles. What is happening to see is we see a lot of organizations doing that, right? They're making conscious decisions. We are reading labels. We're reading labels on our clothes. We're reading labels on our foods. We're reading labels everywhere to understand what are the patterns, etc. It's just awareness. And you read a label, you get into the habit of reading labels, you will automatically start changing yourself or your thought process, because that's what you're feeding your subconscious. If you have to order, yes, we all order, but if you have to order, right, think about it. Green deliveries, and all of it. But are they? Make that change. We stop walking. Walk that 1 kilometer. to your office, finding space nearby office, or find so many things that can be done and should be done, right? We harnessing solar energy at our farms. We harnessing a lot of people. We harness this power of the sun because that is what it is. I was reading a very interesting study. I'm not sure how, not a medical practitioner, etc. But they said when you wear sunglasses, your body naturally is not cooling itself because it's not getting the impact of the sun off your eyes. That's a filter that you're putting. Whereas if you go out without sunglasses, your body automatically will be able to regulate your body temperature because your eyes are sending a signal to the skin and the skin cools or whatever. As I said, this is just a study that we study. Probably, yes, that's why animals around us didn't need this thing. So there could be a truth. So do we really need to add layers, or can we just go right deep down to ancient living and ancient wisdom? Modern science, yes, but can we combine it with the ancient wisdoms? Those are thought processes that we're looking at. What you see behind me is a picture of a farm which was just 2 years old. So now obviously there's a lot of change. We are growing 154 kinds of trees. We're reviving a lot of ancient seeds which were native to our countries but unfortunately have been dying down. We're working with the forest officials to ensure that how do we get more and more people to adopt these trees, because today is like, oh, I don't have a market for those products. Finding those markets, bridging the gap between urban indigenous foods, getting them to urban life. These are all thought processes that we have to do. And can we as consumers also, start looking at seasonal, because non-seasonal foods add a lot of impact to the soil and a lot of impact because then water, probably the environment is not supporting them. So we need to really put them under greenhouses. We need to do all of that. So thinking seasonally, thinking locally, all of these are very, very minute changes. And your body will thank you because definitely if you eat seasonal, your body is lighter. You then don't need to do a lot more other things. So it's just not being greener. You be greener, you become healthier. And that's not us. That's ancient wisdom across every culture that we have. There's a saying, and this is a saying which you probably will find in every ancient, it's an ancient proverb from probably every language. It was a wise man who planted a tree who we knew we will never sit under the shade of. And probably that's what we also need to start doing, those actions. Coming back to a corporate life, right? Coming back to our urban lives, how do we do that? Can we just have a day where we just relax, think about, what we're going to do, what we're not going to do? We all love reading. We all are on our devices, etc. Because urban life calls for it. Corporate life calls for it, right? So we can't be off. We're having a session today over technology, right? So modern life calls for it. But can we, with our other actions, offset these? As I mentioned, we just need to understand what are the things that we can do in our corporate life, in our offices, in our homes, in our this thing. Can we, probably have planters around our house or that green cover so that our AC coverage can be smaller? Can we build our houses if we have the privilege to build our own houses? Can we build it in a much more eco-friendly way? Can we use this thing, there are many more, and impact studies, right? Can we just go down and trace what we're using and how this is being used and where is it coming from? A lot of people, we get our spices from Northeast. We probably don't need to because we have enough here. Yes, probably a specialty ones, yes. They all add to the movement and the supply chain. So these are just small steps. And at the farm levels, when we start adopting all of these, like no single use plastic that we use. We can't get rid of plastic completely because unfortunately, in the agricultural world, everything ends in plastic, etc. But then we are making the conscious choices of not using single-use plastic. We're only using plastic which can be drums, etc., which can be used for extended period of times, virgin plastic, and all of it. So and then using the same, whatever is growing at the farm, using it back for mulching, creating a zero waste farm concept. That's what we're moving towards. So that there's no movement of, the waste going out of the farm and then wanting to get new things. So can we recycle everything that we have at the farm? These are just those single, small step processes, and they naturally come to you. Minimize your purchasing. One of the best ways. I I say this, use what you want. A lot of customers, will order in bulk, and I tell them, no, please use as much as you need. Keep it fresh, um, uh, because that's how. Otherwise, you'll have to put it in the fridge. Then there is a refrigeration testing and all of it. So use, because we don't use. We, as I said, I mentioned, we harnessing the power of the sun. So that's what we are able to do. Um, use refillable pens, inks. We had these. We stopped using them. We now into a use and throw capacity. Reuse your paper, reuse your stationery, because stationery is not gone down. Printers are still in function. Though we have storage of our documents, etc., we still have a lot of paperwork. So can we recycle our paper? These are just small things, right? We do gifting. We do not buy paper, this thing. We do scrapping of paper, and we use them as packaging paper. It can be done, and it should be done. And children are actually better versed at doing it than we are, because I think we were at the cusp when all of the single use started coming in. But children today are going back. They're growing their own food, they're growing their own seeds. I think we can. The schools are encouraging it. So, when we are looking at schools, let's look at all of these practices. When you're looking at organizations, let's look at these practices. And second is, let's be unapologetic about our choices. We really don't need to make excuses or give an entire explanation. This is what we do because this is what each of us will believe in, right? So let's do that. It is different for us. We could have had a commercial farming thing, but we wanted to grow trees, so we got into agroforestry. Imagine a 15 to 22 year age, maturity cycle. We've not seen a forest. We're waiting it out, and that teaches us patience, believe us. So we wait it out. We have got rid of this, instant gratification. It helps for us to become greener. We have to curb our impulses. We have to start thinking of each and every action. And that's when we start getting into greener you. Just so, also one more thing. So a lot of things that you see, if you see our product list, etc., you see a lot of things, you will probably say, why are we growing this? We're growing it because the farm needs it, not because we as individuals need it. We will find a need for it. That's a different story. But the farm needs it because they do the nitrogen fixing, they do the potash fixing. So they work in synergy with each other, each and every crop, and they know it better than we do. So we just let it be. Let things grow. They were meant to grow. Let's use things that they were meant to be used for. And let's consciously think of every single action that we do and how it has impact. It's not possible for all of us to incorporate everything into our lives. We just need to choose the discomforts that we can live with, but there are certain discomforts we need to rectify and we need to live with, saying that, yes, this is something that, yes, we need to, yes, I probably would want to have water, fresh water around with me, but I don't want to carry my bottle. It's a discomfort. Maybe I can overcome that, right? I want to give flash and glitter in my gifting box, but I want to, I can curb that. I love to buy. I love to go out and shop. Do I have need for it? Does it really need it? Is it going to stay the time? That's so many questions. Ask the questions, read the labels, do it, and the air will be cleaner, the soil will be cleaner, the water will be cleaner, and when they're all cleaner, our conscious will definitely be cleaner. Yes. So, any queries, questions, and or examples as to how we've done what we've done and the journey that we've taken. Again, I can take you a simple example. We're doing a lot of revival of ancient seeds, and they've not been easy to find. We've probably traveled six months, 3 states, 7 states to find those indigenous seeds, native seeds to be planted, to be got to us, and then to be experimented. Today, we are obviously creating a seed bank, and we're sharing that with a lot of other co-farmers or people who want to get into a natural way of living and farming. We're doing that. We do go to schools, Rotary clubs, etc., and we're giving all those seeds for you to plant at your levels, etc. So those are, as I said, again, simple steps. And one of the core of being, being environment friendly or being true to the soil is not keeping knowledge to yourself, is spreading it out. It is encouraging other people to do it and making it easy for other people to do it. Everyone doesn't need to travel the same journey that someone else did. Your entry points could be faster. For them, it could be much simpler. Can we simplify these things for them? That is also something that we're working on. We do distribution of a lot of seeds, whether it's the desi peanuts or whether it is the black haldi, etc. Please do it in your gardens. Please do it out in your homes, which are possible, right? So that you start thinking that there is something beyond what I see on my shelves. There are desi jungly foods, and I would like to say jungly foods, wild foods. They grow on their own. They don't need any help, any assistance. Come this season, you'll see them start sprouting and spreading their joy around. So can we transfer some of those joys to our urban lives? We see them, get inspired by them. They're beautiful looking. Some of them actually beautiful looking shrubs, beautiful looking flowers, etc. Probably in our normal life, we would probably not see them. We're used to seeing flowers which a florist gets to us, but can we now start seeing, flowers which were just growing in the wild, and we see them in a garden, we see them on our balconies, we see them all of this. It's just, our minds can start thinking about those and start admiring that, and then our journey towards probably a better us and a better starts. So those are things that we are doing. Jungly tomatoes, desi peas, jungly peas, jungly passion fruits. All of these are there available really in the wild. And these can be also grown in our home gardens. And probably as Svaguna, I'm not sure how many more people we've got introduced to black haldi, black garlic, etc., and just growing them in their own gardens in urban cities like Bombay and Bangalore. And because then it works, because then they know there are many more indigenous foods. When they travel out, when they look out for these, they get them, they start collecting them, and they start incorporating them into their lives, whether in their offices, whether in their gardens, whether in even public gardens. We've had a few customers from public gardens that started planting all of this. So our urban landscape can get incorporated with any of and all of these wild, they say, indigenous plants and shrubs. And they act as a great reminder that there is life beyond a concrete jungle. Okay, anything else that you want us to cover? Anything that you would want a clarification on?
Hi, Dimple. I think very
Yes.
good ideas, simple ideas that we all can use. So you can tell us a little more about your farms and your interest into it so that people who are there, I mean, it all starts with one person, right? So you've been an inspiration and you've connected these ideas together and then now going into a farm. So you are now an agripreneur. So this might be
Yes.
an inspiration for a lot of people if you could share your story.
So
And
for us, it was, yes. So it was, as I said, it just started with the concept of growing trees. We wanted to grow trees. So there was no right, wrong. We just wanted to grow trees, started getting land to grow trees. But then we realized that being typical urbanites, we thought trees grow on their own and there's no nurturing required. That was lesson number one. And then we realized that no, we need to be there to nurture them, to take care of them, to get them, to kind of at least protect them in their youngness, to move on and that sort of stuff. And then when we got involved, we realized, okay, what are we growing? Why are we growing it? Is it for the soil? Is it for? Then these questions started coming up, and we started answering all of these questions. So yes, the seed was growing the tree, and then all of these questions started coming up as to why, what should you grow? is it needed? Is it not needed? Does the soil need it? Or you're just growing it for your own vanity? Because a lot of people, lot of trees that we grow sometimes are just for our own vanity. We like the fruit, we like this thing, and I would like to have a passion fruit through the year, so let me plant. It doesn't happen that way. So and then the science started getting studied on, and the seed journey started as to then we got a lot of knowledge from the forest departments that, hey, these are indigenous trees from these regions, but people around us are just either chopping them off and not kind of growing them because there's no value that they see in it. So we started doing that. Then obviously the flora and fauna both are important. So because there was no flora, the fauna had died out, and because the germination was not happening. So those also came into being. And then there were so many Indian native nuts like the chironji, etc. Those fruits, probably 99% of the people of India would have not eaten a chironji fruit. And that being a tree native to India, just imagine. So, now we're working with the forest department, going house to house, getting people say, let's plant, we're giving the sapling, let's plant this, etc. We will try getting the fruit in the urban market so people understand the value of the fruit, which is grown predominantly in India. Then obviously, the second thing we discovered was a lot of seeds which are traditionally Indians have stopped growing it, and they were getting the cultivars from outside. Typically the passion fruit, as I mentioned, right? Passion fruit is your Krishna Kamal or your Kaurava Panda fruit. It grows in our urban, it was growing anciently also, because the name also suggests that these are not new, this thing. But then now the new passion fruit that we're growing were coming cultivars from Southeast Asia or those seeds. So we said, okay, let's see what we can do, how we can do that. These are minor forest products that just grow around the forest. But the foraging is stopped, and we stopped incorporating it because there's no profit levels to it, right? No one wants to really put themselves, even the makhan phal or the avocado. We have so many things, and that's when more and more consciousness started coming to us as to, okay, they're there. How do we get them? And growing them, why are they important that we grow them? Because they do the natural pest control, they do all of it, and that's why we don't need to do anything else. Again, I'll give another example. The peanuts that we grow, people stopped growing those peanuts. We traveled probably, I think, 8 months. We traveled 24 districts, found the peanuts to grow. That peanut is enriching the soil because it was meant to be grown on that soil. It gave its property back to the soil, other than also giving us the nutrition of the peanuts that we're growing. But then they're not crunchy enough. So, in our minds, peanuts should be crunchy. So there's no market for it. So it's a circle. And see, that's evolution of life, and that's evolution on how we move it. If you're moving from, rural to societal to urban, suburban, and urban life, those changes will come in. But can we also start incorporating? Let's not get them off the shelf completely. At least give choices for people who want to make those choices. That's when we started off. And when we're doing multi-layer farming, today we make 106 things. And as I said, those 106 things are not grown because, hey, I feel, we'll make a lot of money selling those. No, because the soil needs it. Your potassium fixing is done by your bananas. All of these. There is a logical science to it, and we're learning the science slowly, steadily, one step at a time, one seed at a time, one tree at a time. As they say, a tree starts a forest. So that's where our journey started, the tree.
Yeah, interesting. The greener you, small things that you told about, not using bottles, plastic bottles, minimalistic approach, all these come in very handy. And do you work with schools and institutions where you cultivate this early on?
So we are working with a lot of Rotary clubs where we do a lot of waste. The encouraging thing is people know they are able to recognize waste, but we've seen that the journey starts from recycling waste. So we've taken them a little beyond. We said, can we stop generating waste? That's also something that we need to be very conscious of, because if you go to the rural, this did not come to us from urban living. This came to us in rural living, because you see, rural India is bombarded with plastic today. single-use plastic, etc., because sachets and all of it, it is being bombarded. You travel across, you will just only see all of this. So it just got us triggering as to when in rural life there is so much of plastic. So we just look at urban life, it's going to be 100-fold. And then we started mapping our own consumption patterns and all of it. And we said for every occasion we're buying something, for every occasion we don't think of it, okay, I'm going for a birthday party, I'll just pick up something from even I might have it at home. So those were the ideas that can we start minimalizing things. And then, children, can we stop return gifts? Because most of the return gifts are not even used. It's a very simple thing, you might say you're taking away a toy from a child. No, we're not taking a toy away from a child. The children today have enough and many and plenty. Okay. So, but can we get them in the consciousness that, it is not because it's also impulse. So you are working on them with saying that impulse. Where are the seeds coming from? When they look at their food, when they look at a mustard seed in their food, it should automatically come, hey, this can grow. Those are small steps that we are working with them. This can grow. Because otherwise they're so used to getting things off the shelf, they do not know how they grow. So, looking at seeds, hey, can I plant this? Can I do this? Tamarind. Tamarind shoots off fast and then it takes time, right? So imagine the pleasure that you will see in planting your tamarind and it shooting up right in front of you, and then you can replant it into a larger area, etc. See that those pleasures, we talk about it. We do a lot of Rotary sessions, we do a lot of school sessions, and talking about where food comes from, how food comes from, not wasting food, talking to them on plate to farm back again. How can you segregate your food so that food can get converted into compost. And these are steps that all of us can take. Unfortunately, we expect someone else to do it for us or someone else to come and educate us. But hey, we all read, we all see, we all do all of it. We can start taking these small steps. In cafeterias, the amount of food waste, right? Can we segregate the food? We don't need people to segregate it for us. We can do it ourselves. Can we take smaller plates, right? But we're so used to, ek hi baar we'll take everything and eat. Can we just take half, and then if we're hungry again, we'll go and fill ourselves again? That's all right. We can take a little shift from a traditional way that you should eat your food at one go. We generally don't even do that when we go for parties. So we can make the small changes. Those small changes make a very big impact. We might, as I said, we're not organizations, we are not impact, we're not NGOs that we need to study the impact, but within ourselves we know. A small step, you start giving up plastic bottles, right? 2 days if you're traveling out and you are not able to find water without a plastic bottle, it is in your consciousness for life. You start respecting water because that's a journey that you have taken. When you go to banquet halls also, they'll give you a bottle and let's say you refill your bottle. I'm still using the plastic bottle, right? And then you say, so no, I'm not going to use this bottle. Just say that once, say that twice. That message will go to that hotel that they need to start changing their way of thinking, stuff. So you don't need to shout it out. You don't need to say, no, this is wrong. I don't want you to do this, etc. Small steps, you articulating it to them. Children saying it to their parents. It works. We have children now coming back and telling parents, Mom, I don't want balloons for my birthday.
Yes.
Right? It's a big shift. But it is a shift which is coming up because the children are becoming conscious of what they're using, etc. You can't say you don't want even my child to have a birthday party. Who's stopping them from having a birthday party? But they're just being conscious about what they are doing in their birthday party. It is their birthday party. Let them plan it. And if it says no balloons, no balloons. Right? If they don't want a new dress for their birthday, it's their choice. We have to respect even the children's choice. Why do we know it best, right? If they say we want to write with a pencil, let them write with a pencil, right? You can't say, no, I don't want you to write with a pencil, it's cut surgery. You've told them once, you've told them twice, but they still want to write with a pencil, let them write with a pencil. As long as they're making other impacts, they're making other decisions which are cleaner and cleaner. You can't be clean all through. It's not possible because then you'll not be able to live your life, right? Choose your battles to fight and walk that path. That's all.
Absolutely, Dimple. I think there is no formula. You start doing things, small things which were in your control. I think when we grew up as kids, some of these things were very much integrated part of life. Like we would eat a mango and then we'll throw the seed in the garden. We will see it sprout. We will go and put it in a corner where it can grow. I think we've seen that this is a seed I planted and it grew when I was 17. You've seen that parallel in childhood. Somewhere, I think in the last 10, 20 years, a lot of these simple pleasures have also gone. And it's just time that we take back those joys and start doing it. Like you said, all these seeds which we can grow in the garden, it doesn't need any care or attention or any special manure. You just leave it to be and it will thrive.
Yes.
So,
And schools are playing a big important role. See, I've seen some schools, they are letting children plant their own gardens, etc. Especially schools which have their own food. I feel that you should let them grow because we're not growing quantity, right? But they start also respecting that whatever is grown is there for us to eat. Everything is not readily available to us 24/7. It hits you then, right? That, oh, there only so much, so we have to share and we have to live within. So we stop wasting. See, it's a circular thing, right? It's not like a linear thing. You come to it and then you retract and then you come back to it. Something else might give a bigger message to you saying that this is it. And a lot of children today don't eat sugar, right? I'm giving a very simple example. They don't eat sugar. Now that is an impact because to process that sugar, there's so much of electricity that is being used, right? So that is the greener you. It is a greener you. And we should appreciate that for that fact and not, you don't eat cakes. But they're not eating cakes, it's all right. It's good, good, right, etc. We all need our pleasures. But if they don't want to eat it, let not eat it and then actually explain to them that there is the impact that you're making, right? The electricity that you're saving. You have to make them feel better.
absolutely. And I think, like you said, the kids are smarter today. They come back, and I know in a birthday party, the return gift was saplings. In a city environment, the child decided to give saplings. And so other kids were like, but I don't have place in my house, put it in a pot. When it becomes big, you can give it a new home. So I think there are workarounds. We just need to keep trying like you did and start spreading the word around. I think that's key. You need
It's
not
always
make
not the big thing, right? Oh, I want to do this, I want to do this. Oh, we want to do 100 things, right? But can we just do half a thing also? Half a thing is
Yeah.
also good enough. And a lot of people, oh, I'm in urban life, I can't do it, I work a corporate job, I can't do it, my office decides for me, etc. No, you decide because you're in your office for 10 hours a day or 8 hours a day, right? That 8 hours you can make a conscious decision on one particular thing. Believe me, seeing you, they might call you the crazy one for a year, but the next year they will adopt that practice.
Yeah, that's there. Like in corporates, you can see that the mug revolution, as they call it. Don't take chai in the paper cup, which is
Yes.
there in the vending machine. So we asked the vendor when I was working in a corporate prior to this, we asked the vendor to give us stainless steel glasses for coffee and tea on the vendor side, and for the machinery that would give us the ready mix of milk and coffee powder. Instead of taking the paper cups, we said, bring your own mugs. So we all had mugs in our desks. Small thing, but it cut down paper wastage like tons. Because every day, a minimum of 20,000 people in a single office, so much plastic and so much paper cut down per day.
Exactly. Movement, right? Movement of even goods into the office. Can they be minimalized? Can we have people say singular vendor. I said, yes, you can have a singular vendor, but ensure that the singular vendor is also carrying that concept of yours ahead. Let not it be a tick mark for you as a facilitator that I need a single vendor who will provide me everything, because if the vendor is going to get 30 people coming and giving it to him, then it kind of defeats the purpose. So that's why I said study the label, study that impact. You can't go right till the end, but at least you can go 3 steps behind. 3 steps behind is also a good enough thing. Because for us also, when we get seeds or when we are getting anything at the farm, be it, so we also study where is it coming from, etc. We try to keep it in a radius of 100 kilometers, everything within a radius of 100 kilometers. Sometimes not possible. But some vendors or some technology, people say, oh, get it from Delhi, get it from. I said, we are an MP. We have need to find something, or we will study it ourselves and we will start incorporating ourselves. Because getting a vendor to come to us every time, again, you're not being green because there is a transportation thing to it. You might talk of green fuel, you might talk of all of it, but it is still fuel. It is still the effort. And then you start making these compromises, the small compromises, then you compromise everything. So, a lot of people say you should discount your food. We said, if the minute we start discounting the price of a food with you, we will start discounting at the farm. And therefore, we're very conscious that we do not offer any discount because we do not want to discount anything or any effort at the farm. I might lose you as a customer, but that's all right. But this is a movement that we have now. It's not about, oh, I've sold 3 tons or 5 tons. And there are many partners who will see your vision. You just need to have the patience to, and I say, when we have the patience to grow a forest, we have a patience to do everything else.
Thank you so much, Dimple.
Yes.
This was like really good, and it kind of resonates very well. Today, we started our event, day 5 of our event, with a tree plantation drive for rice. So we are creating a rice forest in a location in Chennai, and we hope to continue. So these are native trees again. Of course, we are working with Community Tree, another local NGO in Chennai, who's doing this for us. But we plan to now support this and, have a thriving forest created. So I'm so happy that at an individual level, at an organization level, all these topics that we discussed today resonate very well with us. And I'm sure with the audience and all your customers across the globe who are supporting you in this venture. A lot of takeaways for me personally, and I'm sure to all the audience who are here. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Dimple.
Same here. Thank you. And I have to tell you this, we feel that this journey is not bad. When we speak to people, right, they might not align with us in the sense, but they'll definitely leave with you good wishes for what you're doing. That itself is energy for us to move forward. So people do understand that there is a need. I might not be able to do it myself, but at least I'll pass on my wishes to people who are doing it. And that is, I think, one of the greatest things that we've seen in the last 4 years.
A lot of good wishes from our side, from Rice Paper World 25. I know this is going to thrive because it comes from the heart and it's something that the planet needs. And I'm happy that a lot of customers, like you say, you may lose some, but there are some who are die hard and who will stick with you for the rest of the journey.